So the rescue process also would be a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoa, okay, because that one took me aback. I think it may have been Grey's Anatomy or ER, but basically what happened is they ended up being sued for helping. So you need to know what you're doing, which we're going to get into in a moment, because we're going to get into the training and how to handle different situations. But before that, I also want to find out what are some of the numbers that we should have on hand. If something was to happen and you're trying to help in the meantime, in that moment before whether it's the ambulance comes in, but what numbers should we have on hand?
The emergency numbers are very important. What I've realized most of the time, if one goes through the training, they will write the number probably on the book, but where do you need the number? On your phone. Okay. It should be saved on your phone. Okay. The easiest number to remember, probably the government number, 999. Yeah. Then the other ambulance providers, the common ambulance providers, you could have E+, you could have St. John number. Okay. They're easy to remember, so it's good for one to save it in their phone. That's
a good one. Save them. And also, for in case there are fires, I guess you should have
fire brigade.
The fire brigade.
Probably the police at your area where you live. Okay. It's also important to have KPLC when we are having emergencies with the electricity.
Oh, in my head, how did KPLC get into this?
Because there's high voltage.
No, I hear you. Yeah, it could be. That could be an emergency. Okay, so now we're going to actually get into the training, and we've got. Little Anne, which I would have called a dummy, but I guess it's not. So Little Anne, it's not because your name is Anne.
No.
Okay, this is a little version of Anne. Okay, so why Little Anne?
The person who first started the CPR, the daughter, was called Anne.
Oh.
Yeah, so she got sick, and that's where the whole CPR came in. So it's named after the daughter.
That's interesting. And yet we've got a white male. But you're Little Anne. Oh, it's a lady. Yes. Oh, what? Okay, we need to work on this hair then, if that's the case. But it's okay. No, we're here to learn about training, not talk about hair. So let's go. I don't know if we should start with maybe CPR and then move on to other things. So we're assuming this lady has fainted. Yeah? They've just passed out and it's not clear why. What's the first thing that you should do?
First, assessing for danger, it's very key, so that you're also safe. Then you need to determine, are they responsive, are they not responsive? Yeah, so when you're checking the response, you need to talk to them to see if they would respond. Right. We are not sure if there's any injury to the ear, so you have to speak to them both sides of the ear.
Oh, that's so, okay, go on.
So, hello, Anne. Hello. Open your eyes. Zero response.
So you don't touch?
Do not touch. Thing is, when you're checking response, we want to do it at different levels.
Oh, so you're not here like, Anne, Anne. Or it could even, okay.
So when you talk to them, do not touch. So that when you touch, then you can be able to tell what are they responding to. Is it your touch or is it your voice?
Wow. That's, okay, interesting. Never knew that, okay.
So you shake a little bit, you could pinch to check if they can feel any pain. If there's no response, then you probably need more help. Then do you have someone else in the house that you can call? You're in the office, can you shout out for help so that your colleague can come in? Then we go to the basics, which are the airway, the breathing, and the circulation. So we need to open the airway. Easiest way to open the airway, palm to the forehead, 2 fingers to the chin. Please confirm there's nothing in the mouth, then tilt the head back.
So can I try that?
Sure.
Palm to the forehead. Why 2 fingers on the chin?
The space down there, because what we want to hold is just the bony part.
Okay. Yes. So head, 2 fingers to the chin, and then pry the mouth open?
You could open it to confirm
that there's nothing, and then?
Tilt it up.
Tilt it up. And that's allowing for
air to go in.
Okay, so you do that and then?
You need to check if they are breathing.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you're checking breathing, you want to look at the rise and fall of the chest. You want to listen if there's any noise coming out with their breath. Yeah. And you want to feel the warmth. So your position should actually be this.
Right. Okay, because you're listening, you're feeling. Okay. And you're watching. Yes. Wow. Okay. So literally you're trying to pick up on all the senses and seeing what's going to help you help them.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, so now you see maybe, okay, so for instance, say their chest is rising and falling, so you know that they're breathing. What's the next thing? Do we get into this? No. That's what you see those movies like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Tell me what happens next.
If they are breathing, then we need to check if they have a pulse.
Okay. Yes. You can be breathing and not have a pulse?
Yes. It is a possibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
So if they're not breathing, then immediately we need to perform our CPR.
Okay.
Yeah, with CPR, you need to compress the center of the chest.
Okay.
Yeah. At the center of the chest, only the heel of your palm can fit there. So your heel will go to the center of the chest, then you interlock.
What is the center of the, I guess you just have to feel. Is it, let's say, would it be between your breasts? Or under?
We wouldn't say ideally between your breasts. What you can do to measure up, you can put an arm under your hand under the armpit, then draw a straight line to the center of the chest.
Okay, got it. So put a palm there.
Yes, then you interlock.
Wow. Okay.
Then when you interlock, you want your elbow straight. You need to lock it up. We want more pressure on the casualty's body, then your weight above the body of the casualty. Then when you compress, we go in 30 times.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, until 30.
Until
Got
30.
it. Is there a speed to it?
There is. Yeah. So what you want to achieve when you're doing your CPR is 100 to 120 chest compressions per minute.
Wow.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It is the rate. Normal pulse, it's usually a range of 60 to 100, right? To a normal adult casualty at rest. Yeah. When you go unconscious and we are doing our artificial pumping of the chest, then you need to increase. That's why we do the rate of 100 to 120. But
you see, when you break it down like that, I don't know what
the easiest way you make sure you hit the 100 to 120 is the counts. So we'll insist on the counts. So the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9.
Wow.
So it has to be a rhythm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up until 30. So you do it till 30. By now, might you be seeing someone coming out of it, or?
You could.
I guess it depends. Okay. Wow.
So once you give the 30, then you need to give them some oxygen. So that's where our mouth-to-mouth comes in. Yeah. So when you're doing your mouth-to-mouth, you have to have a clear seal of the mouth of the casualty.
A seal?
Yes.
And where do you get the seal?
So we have them in the first aid box. So you could have a mouth shield, which is the most common in the first aid box. So if you have your home first aid kit, that's what you'll have.
So you put it on their mouths and you breathe into it. What happens if you're out on the street? You know, you were walking and you happen to find someone. Would you advise not to do it?
Always it comes down to you as an individual. What we know is personal protection comes first. Also, as first aiders, we say you are always our number one as the first aider. Then are you safe?
Right. So is any of this different if you're dealing with children?
Yes, it is different.
How so?
Depending. When it comes to CPR, a baby or an infant is from 0 to 12 months. That's what we have here. Yeah, so they are slightly...
Oh, this is a heavy baby. You can't pick this. I thought I was just gonna... This isn't like your average toy. Okay.
So since the chest is slightly smaller, when you want to do your chest compressions, you'll use 2 fingers. There. Then when you're doing your mouth-to-mouth, for an adult, you do a seal around their mouth. For the baby, what you realize, the bridge in between the nose and the mouth is very tiny. So if you're to blow in, you do mouth-to-mouth and nose.
Wow. So the whole
thing you have to seal. Thing is, also their lungs are small, so when you're blowing in, you need to blow oxygen from your mouth. A little oxygen, not same way you do to an adult. Adult is oxygen from your lungs. For a baby, it's like small puffs. As long as the chest comes up, then we know you've done adequate ventilations.
And so how long would you be doing this before you maybe step back? How long would you be doing whether it's the
chest compressions and the ventilations? We do at least 5 cycles. A 32 is a cycle. So that should be, for 5 cycles, that's 2 minutes of CPR. Then you can pause If you want to make your emergency call, you can make your emergency call. If you want to confirm if they started to breathe, you can do that at that.
How different is all of this when you're dealing with a pregnant woman?
Same thing. Our problem with pregnancy is that they cannot lie on their back for so long. Yeah? They need to lie on one side, which the preferred side is the left side.
Okay.
Yeah. So when they're flat on their back, ideally, for a person, I think I'll use this baby. Body hollows. At the neck, we normally have some space. At the waistline, at the knees, and at the ankle when someone is lying flat. So what you want to do, right at the waist, you want to put something. So if it's a piece of clothing, you want to roll it up, place it to the right side of the hip and the waist.
Oh, of the pregnant lady?
Yes. Then the baby in the tummy will move to the left hand side.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Then everything else remain constant. The 30 chest compressions, the ventilations remain the same.
Right. So what happens when someone has drowned or was drowning and you pulled them out? Do you still do the same thing of pumping?
We still do the CPR, but what we need to determine, we go back to our basic, airway, breathing, and circulation.
So again, you start like this.
You open. Kumbuka with the baby, when you're doing your head tilt, it's a slight tilt.
Oh, baby, I'm sorry. Did I do it? Oh, sorry, baby.
So just
so
a slight tilt.
Like that.
Then you need to confirm if they're still breathing. If they're not breathing, then you still do your CPR. What you need to remember with a baby, they were underwater. Same thing will happen when it comes to drowning. Little oxygen underwater. So you'll start by giving ventilations. So you give 5 ventilations first.
So 5 until it gets to 5.
Yes. Then now you do your chest compressions 30 times. Then we go back to normal. 2 and 30. 2 and 30. Thing is, when they were drowning or they had a near drown, we expect there's some liquid in the system. So they will start to vomit out.
Which is a good thing because it's coming out of their system. And the same is with the adults. We do 5 and then
the
30 and then 2, 30, 2, 30. You know, one last question before we go on break. I remember hearing about, is it called dry drowning or something, where you pull someone out, but because they still have water in their lungs, they might still drown later. So is it advisable that even when they seem fine, that you still rush them to the hospital?
Yes. Yes, it is important.
Okay, well, we have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be learning more about some of the things we need to know so that we can save ourselves and save others around us. We'll be back in a moment. at MedSwift, and we've been talking about first aid training, the basics that you should know, that we should all know. And now I want to focus a little bit on children. What are some of the basics that we should be teaching our young ones when it comes to first aid?
When it comes to emergency in children, then who do they contact in case of anything? Because I think there we forget, and we teaching the child basically to know the numbers and who to call in case of an emergency. Then how can they separate this is an emergency and this is not an emergency?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, like what if they're like, I can't find the remote, and they end up calling, you know, like emergency services come help. I see what you mean, okay. So differentiate between a real emergency and a false, you know, need. Anything else that we should try and teach them?
Basic first aid, especially things like bleeding. There are things that will always happen when it comes to children. Then how best do they deal with bleeding? Just that applying pressure when they're having a bleed. Yeah, it is important. When it is too much, then who do they run to tell?
And now I want to get into fevers, because I remember hearing about how it's a point of concern if your child's temperature is past a certain number, but it's always been a little confusing. And so what I ended up doing was getting a thermometer that shows you this is red, red means danger, orange means concern, and green means you're good to go. So can you break down when it comes to babies specifically and fever? Is it an emergency? Did whoever say what they said about, ooh, be worried? Were they lying? Were they stretching the truth? And if it's real, what's that number that we should be aware of?
No temperature when it comes to children. We'll put it at 36. Sometimes it will get to 37 and they're still okay. Thing is, when it gets beyond 37, when it hits 38, then it becomes a concern. Then probably want to feel the temperature to touch. You want to touch their forehead, then how does it feel? Is it hot? Their stomach, their back. If they start heating up, then most of the time we layer children a lot. So what you want to do is to delayer the child. So remove the extra clothing. Let's see if the temperature starts to drop. If it does not, then what happens next? If the baby is with a nanny, then you see they have to make that emergency call, tell you that the baby has a fever. It will take you time to get home, but then what will they be doing at that point? Then do they have warm water? They want to sponge the baby.
Warm water?
It's lukewarm water, not cold. Not cold.
Interesting.
The thing with babies, they're very small, so they'll end up losing their temperature very fast. And that's why we cool with lukewarm water, not cold water. So when you sponge and you realize probably the fever is not going down, then what will happen to the child next? They will start to fit.
That's why it's you don't take it lightly. So at any point, have we given them any kind of paracetamol?
We would,
if
it is available.
Because I think that's on the basics of, like, you know, your little medical kit. It's important because kids, for some reason, they get sick all the time, and there's always a temperature. So before, I guess, you're, you know, able to rush the hospital, that would be something you would actually put into consideration. You could give. It doesn't, then yes, it is a red flag. Rush to hospital. Because you don't want them, you know, getting to the next stage. Exactly. Now, what about when children, for whatever reason, end up putting things in their orifices, like something in their ear, something in their nose, swallowing something? First, where does that need come from? I wish we could understand that. Like, why put a bean? Why put a stopper in your ear? Why do all of that? But more importantly, what should be the first thing that you do when you notice that something's gone somewhere that it shouldn't be?
Then, how old is the child? Because if it's a small baby, it gets tricky if they have something inside their nose. Because even if you tell them to blow, they won't understand the blowing bit. So at that point, we'll need you to rush the baby to hospital. If they are big, let's say from 1.5 years going up. Tell them to blow, they would be able to blow their nose. So you could advise them to blow their nose. If it does not come out, then we take to hospital. We always say, please transfer, avoid putting things into the nose to attempt to remove.
Whew, that's just even giving me nightmares thinking about it. Okay, so first, just as quickly as possible, first thing, blow. If it's in the air though, what happens?
If it is a small insect, you could flood the ear with water. So what you do, incline the head to one side. Then put water inside the ear. Hold it there for a few seconds. Whichever insect is inside there will die, especially if it's a fruit fly.
I'm feeling so panicky and hot already just thinking about this. Okay, go on.
Then tilt back. Then the water will flow out with the insect that was there. But if it's something big, then please do not flood. Immediately transfer to hospital.
Right, so if it's an insect, do the flooding. If it's not, because I know someone who put a stopper in their ear. Do you do the, I guess the flooding doesn't kill it.
Yes, it wouldn't work. You want to transfer to hospital.
Just straight to hospital. Yes. I never knew about the flooding thing, but hey, there you go, now you know. Now what happens when there's a cut? You actually even talked about, you know, that could be in the basics of first aid, that you know to put pressure. What should one do if they or their child has suffered from a deep cut? Maybe they were cutting something, sliced a finger, not severed it, so there's still, you know, it's still attached, but you've sliced it quite deep. What should one do?
Doing the direct pressure, that's our key. When it is severe, most of the time our main aim is to stop the bleeding. So what you need to remember is the elevation. So apply pressure, then elevate it higher than the heart muscle. Once you...
Higher than the heart?
Yes.
So here. If it's a leg?
They lie flat and you elevate.
Right.
Right. So it normally helps with the blood flow to the injured side because it takes time to get there.
Right, and what we're trying to do is to stop excessive bleeding. Yes. Got it. So you hold tight, hold it above your heart, and then what next?
Then we apply the dressing. So the dressing will come in. The dressings will be in your first aid box.
Right.
As well.
We're actually going to get to that a little bit later, like what needs to be in your first aid kit. But okay, so you put the dressing, and as you're putting it on, are you literally trying to put it as tight as possible? Really? Okay.
Tight, not to cut off blood supply. It's tight enough. Thing is, with the wound dressing, it has a long roller bandage. So the more you wrap it around the arm, the more pressure it applies. So if you tie it too tightly, then it will limit blood flow. Then we might have the cells already dying out.
So you've got to find the balance, and you wrap the whole thing around?
Around.
The whole thing. Okay, and
so
then
thing is, this bit, that's our dressing. So this is what goes directly onto the wound. Then the rest is a supporter roller bandage. Yes.
Lovely. Whew. Okay, now what happens in the case of choking? What should one do?
Choking, we'd like to build it up because when it comes to choking, we have partial choking and we have complete choking.
Okay, what's the difference?
With partial choking, your casualty will be having a progressive cough. You'll actually hear it out. The tearing, the bulging eyes. When it comes to complete choking, then they start having difficulty in breathing. They have the panic on their face as well. So when you're doing your treatment, we'll start it polite because we want to rule out a partial choke. So you would encourage them to cough. So if the cough and the obstruction does not come out, then you give back blows.
Back blows. Bang, bang, bang.
Thing you need to remember, where do you hit? It's upper part of the back.
Okay, Jonah,
so
where do we hit?
Between the shoulder blades, right there. That's where you want to hit.
And how hard do you do it? You can do it to me. Are you about to injure me?
It will be painful, for sure.
It's okay, we're covered. We've got experts in the room. Save me if it's too hard.
So you offer support to the front, then you let your casualty lean forward. So gravity will help you as well to pull the obstruction out. So with the heel of your hand, that's what you hit with. So just one real blow.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And that's a real one.
It's out. Whatever was not out, for sure we are saved. Yo, okay, so that's real. Wow. No, I have, look, never received. When I'm choking, people are usually like, oh, sorry. That's not doing anything. I guess it's just even this, we're with you. That's, I guess, what that's doing. So is that for a still partial?
Partial. We are hoping if it was also a severe,
that it
will actually pull out the obstruction, yeah?
Okay.
But if it does not come out, then you need to do your Helmick maneuver.
Which is?
Right at the tummy, yeah? So when it comes to that, you need to make a fist. I cannot do that. No, that one will not.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you need to make a fist. Yeah. Okay. So it has to be a lady's fist. Okay. You tuck in the thumb and close it up. Right. Yeah. Then that side of the fist, you place it slightly above your navel. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then with your other hand, you close it up. Okay. So what we are going to attempt to do is to push in and up in one motion. It's a upward motion. In and up.
Wow.
In one motion. Got it. Yeah. So you still do it 5 times. Yeah. Yeah. We always hope as you do it, it will come out. Yeah. If it does not, no, you keep on alternating the 5 back blows and the Helmick maneuver.
Okay, got it.
But we have a caution right there.
Okay. What's
you
that?
are my casualty and you are a lady.
Yeah.
Then would I give the Helmick maneuver?
Yeah, we all need to be safe, no? I guess I get.
You need to confirm.
You need to confirm
if they are pregnant.
Oh, of course. Yes. Of course. Yes. Okay.
So if they are pregnant, then you cannot do the Helmick maneuver. Everything changes.
Wow. Okay.
So you are going to do chest thrust instead.
Which is?
Where we are doing our CPR, at the center of the chest, that's where you're going to place your fist and close it up.
And you're still trying to?
Yes, to push it in.
As they're standing?
Yes.
Wow, okay, got it. Now let's talk about burns. How do you go about it?
With burns, depends with also the degree of burn. Yeah? Okay. Because there is surface burn right on top of your skin. Yeah. With that, we can easily cool with running water.
So, say for instance, a hot cup of tea pours on you, you go straight into straight to the tap, running water.
Yes.
Okay.
So we say intervals of at least 10 minutes to cool it out. Okay. Then remove. If you still feel the burn effect,
put it in.
Put it in again.
No ice?
You could use ice, yeah, but remember when you're putting ice, you need to have a piece of clothing around it so that it's not direct cold onto your skin. Okay. Yeah. Then when it comes to the 2nd degree, that's where we are having the blister formation already.
And you would see it instantly?
Instantly.
And is that still from a liquid or is it from steam? What would cause that?
It would either or. Thing is, how far did the heat go into your skin? So when it gets to the 2nd layer of the skin, then you start having the blister formation.
And they form immediately?
Yes. A few minutes later, so you'll have the blister. So if you notice the blisters before you start the cooling, then we avoid putting it under running water because it can actually burst the blisters.
It can what, sorry?
Burst the blisters.
And we don't want to do that?
We don't want to do that. So you want a container, put it with water, then you immerse now that burnt area into the container to cool it out.
Wow. Whoa, okay, there you go, ladies and gents. A lot more stuff that we should know about first aid and basic ways to make sure that you can protect yourself and the people around you, whether they're loved ones or not. We have to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll find out more about what we should have in our homes, in our cars, in our lives when it comes to first aid kits. We'll be back in a moment. Wali, who's an EMT at MedSwift, and trying to understand how equipped we should all be when it comes to dealing with emergencies. And now I want us to touch on epilepsy. And I'm personally curious about this because about 2 weeks ago, I saw someone fall, and I had no idea what to do. I just didn't know what to do except to sit next to them, which I don't know if it really helped, but they passed through it and they're fine. But where should we start when someone is having an epileptic fit or attack?
First, I think we should start with what is this epilepsy.
Okay.
Yeah. So the electrical disturbance of impulses in the brain, would actually cause the epilepsy. Okay. Yeah. So when they are repeated, then that's when it becomes a disorder. Yeah. It would be triggered. So when you have someone having the fits, we have people who would actually get the warning sign and they'll know that it is coming. Okay. Yeah, and they will prepare themselves. They'll actually find a nice place, lie down and wait for it to pass. Then we have those ones that it actually happens suddenly. Yeah. So they'll just scream, fall down and start having the convulsions. Ideally what you should do, you should make sure the area is safe for them, because at that point as they convulse, then they could hit things around.
This person fell on the road. So in that case, do you move them?
If it's other side of the road, there's possibility of oncoming traffic, then yes,
and their work cars,
move them to the pavement.
Right.
So once they're in a safe area, then what do we want to protect? The head. Because the more they bang on the head, then other head injuries will come in. So something soft, is it your sweater, your jacket, pillow, put something onto their head. So once they have something soft, let them be. Let them have their convulsions. Please do not restrain. Let them have the convulsions. Then once it passes, then at that point you come in. So when you come in, you need to open their airway. Remember, they'll be having the foaming during the fits. We need to clear that out. So tilt their head probably to the side so that we have a flow of the whatever was inside their mouth out. Then still open your airway. Check if they are breathing. Then if they're still breathing, we turn them into a position we call the recovery position.
Which is?
Lying on their side.
We're going to ask Dennis to be our casualty for the day. I hope you don't mind. We won't harm you. Trust us. Or trust Anne. Anne knows what she's doing.
So once casualty is already, the episode is over, and we need to turn them. So you already checked the airway. The basic are still the same. You open the airway, you check for breathing. Breathing is okay. We confirm there is no any other injury. Then we'll turn him into our recovery position. So when you're turning, the nearest hand to you will go at 90 degrees. The farthest hand, you'll give them a high five, place it to their cheek right there.
Because they're going into
Then you'll scoop up the leg farthest from you to be at 90 degrees. Support the knee, support the head, then turn them onto their side. Like that. Place the leg at 90 degrees as well for stability, and reopen the airway. After a fit, your casualty normally goes into a deep sleep. In this position, in case of any other fluid inside the mouth, then they will be still continue to overflow, so they will not choke.
Wow. Thank you. Thanks, Dennis. You've done so well. Are you okay? You're good? Okay. Wow, that was really informative. Now I have to ask one thing though. Do you have to remove their shoes? Because the person who was there with me that time was like, you've got to take off their shoes. Take off their shoes. And I was like, what's with the shoes?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
But I guess we're trying to, I don't know, they're just trying their best to help. Now let's talk about head injuries. Someone could fall. Maybe they've even had an epileptic fit and they hurt their head. What do you do?
When it comes to concussion, when they hit the head, so we normally have the brain shake. That's what we term as a concussion, which is the most common. So what you'll see to the outside is the swelling. Casualty will complain of slight headache, which will clear out after a few minutes. They'll feel dizzy, which will clear out as well. So when it comes to the swelling, what do you want? You want an ice pack. When you're putting your ice pack, please wrap it with a piece of clothing, then place it right there where they're having the swelling. So continuously 10 minutes, then pull it out. Probably the swelling will have gone down. And basically that's it.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Thing is, when someone has repeated concussions over time, especially when it comes to children, when there's
why would they have repeated concussion? Like by that you just mean head banging.
Banging
yeah, okay. And
children.
kids, for whatever reason, are always running into walls. Okay,
so at that point, you may want probably when you go to the hospital to have it checked out. Yeah, just to explain that they have a lot of bangs, then they can check if there's anything, if it's a concern or if it's just okay. Okay,
so a concussion is just swelling with a slight headache and some dizziness?
Yes. Thing is, what happens inside, that's where the problem comes in. Because between your skull and your brain, we have a little bit of space. So when you're having a bang externally, then what happens to the brain? It will move inside. Yeah. So that brain shaking, that's where we have the problem, because we don't know how intense the bang was. Because if it was too much, then there's a possibility of one of the blood vessels inside the brain actually cracking.
Ooh,
then we'll have a bleed inside.
Right. Then it becomes a real problem. Okay. What about heart attacks? I had a guest on the show who described that she felt that sharp pain, decided to take a nap. It was still there after an hour, so she went, took a shower, drove herself to the hospital through the sharp pains, which she didn't understand was her having a heart attack. And, you know, she's fine now and got treated. But what I've seen in movies was that, you know, it's a clutching of the chest and fall to the ground.
It's severe pain. Yeah. It is severe pain. What most people do when they feel the pain, if it's not the pain, normally the explanation of the pain, it's normally too intense. But sometimes people would actually associate it with gas. Yeah, which becomes a problem.
What?
Yeah, because you see, you cannot explain why you're feeling this chest pain right there. Yeah. Problem is when it comes to heart attack and that crushing pain that you see in the movies, and some people would actually experience the intense pain, which would radiate down their arm and come up their jaw. Problem is, if you sleep, you sit, you walk, the pain will never go. You have to transfer it to hospital.
Right.
Yes. So thing is, with heart attack, the most comfortable position. Then how do you position your casualty? Because as first aiders, that's the worst condition you'd experience, because nothing much you can do.
Wow.
Give comfort. So sitting them up, sitting them down, then let them crop their knee.
Okay, that means bring it close to their chest?
Yes. Yeah. Then you need to cover them for warmth, because shock will set in when it comes to a heart attack. Yeah, so that's why we want to cover as we transport to hospital. Then every other thing will be done in hospital. What you need to get prepared for is, what if they go unconscious and you need to perform your CPR? You need to be ready for that.
Okay, and that one you've given us the training. I hope you're taking notes. Now, how important is it that the people in your home or in your environment, whether that's the office or workplace, that they understand A, basic first aid, or B, if you have any conditions? Is it important to just be open and say, hey, I need everyone here to know that I have, you know, whether this condition or that, and this is how it may show up? Is that important?
It is very important, because sometimes it can happen and the people around do not know what to do. So it is best to inform them and also tell them what they need to do in case it happens. That way you're always safe.
So it's almost part of you helping others help you to know the basics, that this is what I've got, and this is what you need to do. So don't be shy, don't feel any kind of embarrassment, just be open with the people around you. Okay, now Anne, what about when someone gets a muscle pull? I know this may not be as grave as some of the other injuries that we've talked about, but it can be really, really painful. Or you've twisted your ankle. So those sports-related injuries that happen a lot when you're out in the field playing. How do you go about it? Muscle pull or?
A sprain or a strain to the ankle. When it comes to a strain and a sprain, most of the time the discomfort that comes in and the swelling, that's what we normally deal with. So we'll let you as a first aider do a procedure we call the RICE procedure.
Okay.
Basically, what we mean by rise is you want to rest your casualty. So if you're standing, let them sit down. You want an ice pack.
Okay.
Wrap it around with some piece of clothing, then place it on the injured part where we are having the swelling.
Okay.
Yeah. Continuously 10 minutes, then pull it out. Then take your crepe bandage.
Yeah.
Then wrap the crepe bandage around the ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would help. Yeah. Thing is, always leave it elevated so that there's not too much swelling as well.
What about muscle pull?
When it comes to a muscle pull, you want to work with the muscle. Yeah. So if you are massaging, you want to massage along the muscle.
Ow! I'm
Yes.
feeling the pain already.
Yes. So if you're using your deep heat rub, so you will apply it, then massage along the muscle to relieve the tension in the muscle.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what about when someone pops their shoulder or their knee, and it's happened to a couple of people I know, and it's caused a lot of panic because it just looks really odd. What do you do? Do you pop it back? No,
please do not.
That's what everyone says you should do.
Yeah,
like
the argument is people say in hospital they still do the same thing. Yeah. But difference is in hospital when they are tracking it back, then they will track it in the right position. Yeah. So in the field, what we'll advise, especially with the shoulder dislocation, you want to immobilize it. So when you're immobilizing, you want to use a sling.
Okay.
Yeah. So you take a triangular bandage, use the sling, immobilize it completely, then transfer to hospital.
So stop trying to be the hero, leave the experts to do their job, you just, I guess, help. Yeah, okay, got it. Last question to you. What should be in everybody's first aid kit? What does that look like? What's in there?
So what we have inside the first aid kit, I think we'll start from the
do I
top.
hold it for you so that you can explain there?
Yeah, thank you. So we have the thermometer.
Oh, I thought that was a pen. That's interesting. Okay.
Yes, the manual one or the digital one. Yeah. Then the tweezers. It's important. Surgical gloves as well. Safety pins when you're doing your slings. Yeah, important.
Okay.
We have the dressings. We've looked at the dressings. So they come in different sizes. So assorted dressings.
Yeah.
Then we have the triangular bandages as well.
Okay.
When you're tying your slings.
Yeah.
Disinfectant. What you need to remember, please, when you're using your disinfectant, please dilute it.
Oh.
You need to.
What? How am I only hearing this like 3 decades into my life? Diluted?
Dilute it. So 1 part to 1 part to 2 parts of water. That's why you have the measuring glass. You have the
even for like minor little scratches, you should still dilute it?
Dilute. Thing is, people always assume disinfectants are very mild.
Yeah.
They're not.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we need
Got it.
to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got that. Yes.
The kidney dish. You have the galley pot also when you're putting your disinfectant in.
Okay.
Yeah. What we have there again, we have the crepe bandages for our soft tissue injuries.
Yeah.
So they come in different sizes. Then we have, this is also a type of a dressing.
Oh, dressing is very important here.
It's key. It's key.
Okay, and what's on this side now? Let's see. Oh, more band-aids? Okay.
A burn cream.
Okay, burn cream. Oh, nice. You've got several in here.
And antiseptic cream as well for allergic reactions, for bee stings, any other allergies.
Okay.
That's why we have the antiseptic.
What's that?
Water for injection. Basically to irrigate the eye. It's very mild.
Yeah.
When you have eye infection, probably from dust, you irrigate with
this
water.
has everything you could possibly need for any kind of emergency. Okay, anything else we're missing here?
We call this a thermal blanket.
Okay.
Yeah. We've talked about shock, people getting into shock. When it comes to severe bleeding, we expect shock to set in.
Yeah.
We talk about covering your casualty.
Yeah.
Then you're on the road, then what do you use to cover? So the thermal blanket comes in.
Yeah.
It's small, it's inside the kit. When you open it, normal size of a blanket.
Oh, nice.
It generates heat.
So you have to have this in your home and where else? In an office, I imagine? In a car or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is important.
Okay.
It is important.
Lovely. And how often does any of this stuff expire?
They all do.
Even the Band-Aids?
Yes.
Okay.
They all have expiry.
So when should you replace a kit?
Once you've If you've used stuff, things from the first aid kit, and they're over, then yes, you need to replace. If they've expired, yes, you need to replace.
Okay. Wow, thank you for answering all the many questions that I had. And hopefully if you're watching this, you learned something, because you never know when you might need this or someone next to you might need this. So hope you're paying attention. Make sure you have a first aid kit in your life, whether it's home or office. Yeah, and thanks, Anne, and thanks as well, MedSwift. You guys are doing a great job. Now I'm gonna leave you with our TBT for the day. And for today, we're taking you back in time. Now, do you know that the spot where Hilton Hotel in Nairobi stands now was actually a bus stop up to the late 1960s? Man, time really changes. Crazy, huh? Anyway, thanks guys for watching. We'll be back tomorrow as usual, 8 a.m. So you have yourself a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
So just one real blow.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. And that's a real one.
It's out. Whatever was not out, for sure we are saved.
It's named after the daughter.
That's interesting. And yet we've got a white male. But you're little Anne. Oh, it's a lady. Yes. Oh, what? Okay, we need to work on this hair then if that's the case. But it's okay. No, we're here to learn about training, not talk about hair.